Okay, what you guys don't know is that this is the third time I have filmed this video. The first time I got interrupted and failed to shut it off right. It just kept running. Second time I was on the wrong problem and I messed it all up. And the third time I wrote 4 originally and wrote 14. It's just not been a good day for me. Not been a good day. All right, let's hope the third time is a charm. Okay, this is your review for your 3-3 quiz. All right, what I want you to do is I want you to pause the video and attempt to solve the problem yourself. Then, when you're finished, start the video back up and watch me solve it. Then we can compare notes and see how well you did. If you get the same answer as me, you can just fast forward to the answer, okay? Well, you wouldn't know if you got the same answer as me, though, would you? You wouldn't. You're going to have to watch the whole thing. Okay, so question number 1 looks like this. 4 times x plus 8 minus 4 equals 34 minus 2x. All right? Now, the first step is get rid of parentheses. Okay, so we're going to get rid of these parentheses by multiplying these terms with 4. 4 times x is 4x, and 4 times positive 8 is positive 32. And then there's a minus 4 hanging out here. And on the right-hand side, we just have 34 minus 2x, which we can't do anything with, all right? These are not like terms. We can't combine them. There's no parentheses, nothing to be done there. Whenever you get 3 terms on one side, though, you should think, I probably need to combine like terms, and you do in this case. There's only one variable term, 4x, but there are 2 constant terms, positive 32 and negative 4. If you combine a positive 32 with a negative 4, you will get a positive 28, right? When we are combining like terms, we are adding terms. The sign in front of the number tells you if it's a positive or negative number. We're always adding when we're combining like terms. We're adding a positive 32 to a negative 4. Okay? All right, when you get down to where you have combined all the terms you can, now you need to get all your variables on one side. Remember, we normally like to go after the smaller of the 2 variables, which in this case is this negative 2x. We get rid of it by adding 2x to both sides. Okay. This gives me 6x plus 28 equals 34. Now it's just a 2-step equation. I want to get my variable term alone, so I need to get rid of this plus 28. I do that by subtracting 28 from both sides, which gives me just 6x on the left and just 6 on the right. So when you divide both sides by 6, we find that x is 1. So you're just going to go over here and type a 1, not an x equals, and I even put that in here in the instructions. Don't type the x in your answer. Just type the answer, okay? Yeah, I'm trying this new format, so I think that's part of the problem I'm having and why I messed up, because this is a new format for me. But Ms. Dolan does this with hers. She films it in Reveal instead of making flip charts out of the problems. So I said I would try it. See how it goes. So far, not so good. But maybe if I learn the system, it'll be better. Now, this one you might want to just watch right off because it does have a fraction in it, and they tend to be a little scarier. On the next fraction one, you can pause it and do it yourself. 4 minus x. Okay. Now, the first thing we want to do is get rid of parentheses. So we need to multiply this number times both of these terms. 2/3 of 9 is 6. You could do this in a calculator. You could go 2/3 times 9 equals. I did it in my head because I know that 1/3 of 9 is 3, and so 2/3 must be 6. Okay? 2/3 times x is just simply 2/3 x. This is 2/3 times x. On the right-hand side, we have negative 5 times a positive 4, which gives us a negative 20. And negative 5 times a negative x. Yes, this is a negative x. This minus sign goes with this x. So it's a negative times a negative, which is a positive, and positive 5x. Okay. Now we don't have any like terms to combine, so our next step would be to get all of our variables on one side. We do that generally by getting rid of the smaller variable, which happens to be 2/3 x. So we subtract 2/3 x from both sides. That gives me 6 on the left, and this is gone now. And I have negative 20 over here. And 5 minus 2/3 is positive 4 1/3 x. Okay. Now it's a two-step equation. I want to get the variable term alone, so I need to get rid of this negative 20. So I will add 20 to both sides. And that gives me 26 on the left and just 4 1/3 x on the right. This is 4 1/3 times x. So to get rid of it, I just divide both sides by 4 1/3. And here's where a TI-30 calculator ideally would be handy. If you don't have a TI-30 calculator, remember, if you go to desmos.com, that's DESMOS, and click on the scientific calculator, you can do fractions, okay? 26 divided by 4 1/3 is 6. So we have that x is 6, and you would just type a little 6 over here. So far, so good. Haven't screwed up yet. Let's see how this goes. All right. Question number 3 has no fractions. You should definitely pause the video right now and attempt this problem by yourself. When you come back, I'll be here waiting. This is me waiting. All right. I hope you did it. I hope you paused it. I hope you really tried it. And I hope that we get the same answer. All right. Negative 3 times the quantity x plus 4 plus 15 equals 6 minus 4x. All right. The first thing you should have done is multiply this negative 3 times both of these terms. That would give you negative 3x minus 12, okay? Negative 3 times a positive 4 is a negative 12, so we write minus 12. Don't forget about this little plus 15. He's easy to forget sitting there. And then we have 6 minus 4x on the right. On the left, I have 3 terms, which is your indication that you probably need to combine like terms. I have only one variable term, the negative 3x, but I have the ability to combine a negative 12 with a positive 15. Now, I said combine. I'm talking about adding. We're adding these like terms together, and these signs tell us if it's positive or negative. This minus sign tells us the 12 is negative, and this plus sign tells me the 15 is positive. So I add a positive 15 with a negative 12, and I get a positive or plus 3. Okay. Now we're to a point where we need to get all of our variables on one side. We go after the smaller of the two variables, which in this case is, it's kind of tricky. Let's think about this. We've got a negative 3x and a negative 4x. Which one of those is really smaller? Okay, well, you know, in negative land, less is more. So this negative 3 is actually bigger than this negative 4. So we're going to get rid of the negative 4 because he's the little guy in this one, even though he seems bigger. And negative 3 plus positive 4 is positive 1x, or just x. Okay, plus 3 equals 6. This is gone. How easy is this? To get x by itself, we subtract 3 from both sides, and we get x is 3. So you would type 3. Okay, so far so good. My worst screw up, though, was on this next problem. I got this far, all the way to problem number 4, and I had to quit because of some stupid mistake I made. And I'll tell you what it is when I get there. Okay. This is 10 plus 4x equals 5 times x minus 6 plus 33. You know what I did the time I screwed up? I put plus 14x instead. Messed up my whole problem. I was so mad. All right, on the left, we have 10 plus 4x equals, we're going to get rid of these parentheses by distributing. 5 times x is 5x, and 5, positive 5, times negative 6 is negative 30. And then we have this plus 33 over here. Now, I did forget to say you could pause the video and do the problem. So if you want to pause the video now and finish the problem, that would probably be a good idea. All right, but I'm going to keep moving on. So when you come back, I'll be finishing it. Okay. On the right-hand side, we need to check for combining like terms. There are 3 terms over here, so we need to combine. There's only one variable term, 5x, but negative 30 and positive 33 can be combined to give us positive 3 or plus 3. Okay. Now we need to get all of our variables on one side. So which is smaller, 4x or 5x? Well, 4x is smaller, so we're going to subtract 4x from both sides. And that gives me 10 on the left-hand side and nothing else because that's gone. 5x minus 4x is 1x, or we just write x, and then there's still a plus 3 over there. To get x by itself, then, all we have to do is subtract 3 from both sides, and we find that x is 7. Type in 7. Okay, this is officially the farthest I've gotten in this recording to date. All right, we need to get to the next question. There are 10 questions, only 9 of them are math problems. The 10th one is my secret video question. Okay, I'm a little tired of that color. Let's switch to blue. Okay. This one is one of those interesting ones where it has the negative sign outside of the parentheses. And we talked about this. That means that there's a negative 1 there. Make sure I copy it right because that's the kiss of death. Okay. This negative over here is actually a negative 1. Okay, you got to remember that. Negative 1 times 4 is negative 4. Negative 1 times negative x is positive x. All that negative sign out here does is change the sign of both numbers. Notice this 4 was positive, now it's negative. This x was negative, now it's positive. That's what a negative sign in front of the parentheses does. It just changes all the signs. On the right, 3/4 times x is 3/4 x, and 3/4 times 6, you would probably do this in a calculator, but no, I'm old school and I like doing things the old-fashioned way. 2, so it's 9/2, and it's negative 9/2. 9/2 is actually 4.5, so I'm going to write 4.5. Okay. You would have probably done it in a calculator. You would have done 3/4 times negative 6, and it would have told you negative 4.5. I just am really weird and like doing fractions myself. Okay, now we have nothing to combine, so what we want to do now is get all of our variables on one side. And we go after the smaller one. Now keep in mind, this over here, this is a 1x, and 3/4 is less than 1. So this is the smaller variable term. So we're going to subtract 3/4 x from both sides. That gives us, on the left, negative 4. Now if you do 1 minus 3/4, what does that give you? It gives you 1/4. So we have a positive 1/4 x. Could have done it in a calculator. Could have done 1 minus 3/4. Easy. Over here, this is gone now, and all we have is a negative 4 1/2. Okay. Now it's just a two-step equation. Here's our variable term. We want to get that alone. We need to get rid of the negative 4. So we can add 4 to both sides. That gives me 1/4 x is equal to, if you add 4 to this, you're going to have negative 1/2. Okay? And then what you do is you divide both sides by 1/4 to get x by itself. And this works out to x is negative 2. So over here you would type negative 2. Pretty cool, right? Now we go to decimals. Oh yeah, now I'm going to have to whip out the calculator. I can do fractions without a calculator, but not decimals. I mean, I could do some decimals, easy ones, but not the hard ones. I tried to pick easy ones. The generator I used really went all gung-ho with these and tried to give you the hardest of the hard ones, but I was like, no, not today. Okay, so we have 18.35. Definitely want to be armed with a calculator on this section. Minus x equals -3 times 0.5x minus 6.5. Okay, now watch me do this one, and then the next one you can go ahead and do it ahead of time. 18.35. Oh, let me check. My Kroger shopper is shopping my order. Okay, cool. She started shopping. They email you or they text you if they want to know if a replacement is okay. So I had to check. Make sure I'm out of stocking on stuff. Okay, so we're going to do -3 times 0.5. Well, I happen to know this is -1.5x. And -3 times that one, I'm going to have to pull out the calculator. I could probably do it in my head, but there's a good chance I could screw it up. So I'm going to just do it in the calculator. 3 times 6.5 is 19.5. And it's a negative times a negative, so this is plus 19.5. Okay. All right, no terms to combine, so we just want to get all of our variables on one side. Which is smaller, -1x or -1.5x? Well, -1.5 is smaller. So let's get rid of that by adding 1.5x to both sides. Now, when I'm asking you which one's smaller, if you screw that up, are you going to get the problem wrong? Probably not. By going after the smaller one, all you're doing is getting rid of a lot of negative numbers, and nobody likes negatives. You can still get the right answer even if you get rid of the wrong one. So don't think that that's an all or nothing there. 18.35. Now, this is -1 plus 1.5, okay? So if we have a -1 and we add 1.5, isn't that going to give us a positive 0.5x? It is. On the right, we have 19.5. Okay. Now, this is my variable term, so I want to get it alone. I do that by getting rid of this number. So I need to subtract 18.35 from both sides. Now I have 0.5x on the left. And about handy dandy calculator. 19.5 minus 18.35 equals 1.15. 1.15. And it's positive because 19 was positive and it was bigger than this one, right? Last step then is to divide both sides by 0.5, the number stuck to your variable. Those cancel. And divide it by 0.5 equals, answer is 2.3. All right, 2.3. Now, in the review and in the quiz, all of the fraction problems result in integer answers, okay? If you end up with a fractional answer on one of the fractional problems, you have made a mistake, go back and fix it. With the decimal problems, you are likely to have a decimal answer, so don't be surprised. But the fraction problems, you should not get a fractional answer. Okay. Next question. Get my pen back. We're getting there, folks. We're almost there. Alrighty, this one is -20.08 minus 1.4x equals 5.9 times x minus 1.3. All right, so this would be a good time for you to pause and see if you can do this one yourself. Pause now. Okay, so we're back. First thing we always want to do is get rid of parentheses. So we're going to have to get rid of those parentheses over there. So we have -20.08 minus 1.4x. Nothing to do on the left-hand side. This is totally not combinable. Those are not like terms. So we're just going to leave that alone for now. Oh, I guess I don't need a calculator to do 5.9 times x. That would be 5.9x. But 5.9 times a negative 1.3, I'm going to need help for that one. 5.9 times negative 1.3 is negative 7.3 0.67, right? Now there's nothing to combine over here, nothing to combine here. We need to get all of our variables on one side. The smaller of the two variables is this negative one, so we're going to get rid of him by adding 1.4x to both sides. So on the left, we will have negative 20.08, and that's all that's on the left now. On the right, I can do this one. 9 plus 4 is 13, carrier 1. So that would be 7. So we have 7.3x minus 7.67. Now, here's our variable term. So we want to get rid of this one. We get rid of it by adding because it's negative. So we add 7.67 to both sides. I'm going to do that on a calculator just to be on the safe side. 20.08, and it's negative 20.08 plus 7.76 or 7.67, which gives us negative 12.41. And on the right, we have just 7.3x. Last step then would be to divide both sides by 7.3. And that gives me that x is negative 1.7, because that was negative. Checking to make sure I'm getting these right. Negative 1.7. So far, so good. Second to the last problem. Oh, you know what? You should probably pause and try to do this one before I do it, just for fun. Go ahead and pause. Okay. So I hope you had fun solving that problem, unless you all are ignoring me and being little cheetahs. You're only hurting yourself, though. You really should try to solve these yourself. Okay, so I think I've copied this over correctly. 3.3 times x is going to be 3.3x. And 3.3 times 3, I think it's going to be 9.9, but let me just double check. Yep, 9.9. And it's positive, so you write plus, equals 1.1 times x is 1.1x. 1.1 times 2.2. I wonder how that's going to turn out. I know how I think. Now, it didn't turn out like I thought. And this was a minus sign here, so this was a negative 2.2. So this is going to be a negative 2.42. That is not how I thought that was going to go. I was thinking 1 times any numbers itself, but I guess 1.1 is not the same as 1. All right, so we have x's on both sides. Which one's smaller? This one. So we're going to get rid of this one by subtracting 1.1 from both sides, 1.1x. 1.1, that's going to give me 2.2x plus 9.9. There's a lot of duplication in this problem. Equals negative 2.42. Now to get this by itself, I need to subtract 9.9 from both sides. It's the same steps. You know, the numbers are just a little uglier. So we have 2.2x equals, over here, these are both negatives. This is going to give us a bigger negative. 9.99 gives us 12.41, negative 12.41. And then the final step is to divide both sides by 2.2. As you can see, a calculator is invaluable, especially with these decimal problems. I am a lover of fractions, but not decimals. What did I do wrong? I did something wrong. This is not right. See, because I got a big answer that filled the whole screen, and I'm like, oh, that is not right. Okay, it took some figuring out. But apparently what they have done, I did get the right answer, but apparently what they've done is they've rounded the answers, and I didn't realize they were rounding the answers. So when you put this one in, make sure you're careful. The answer is negative 5.640909091. Yeah. But apparently they rounded it. So it's negative 5.6. So when you type in the answer to number 8, just type in negative 5.6, even though your calculator will continue on for quite a while. I didn't realize they were doing that. I purposely picked ones that had nice short decimal answers. Ooh, that makes me mad. Very mad. So I did do it right though, unfortunately. Clear. Okay. Hopefully that's the only one that does it. I'm going to have to check the quiz and make sure that there's no rounding on that one too. I'll have to hand grade everything. Oh, I hate hand grading. That will not make my holiday. Okay. So number 9 is the last math problem. All right. And it's a doozy too. Let me make sure I copy it correctly because anything can and will go wrong today. 3.5 times 3.2x plus 5.6. While I'm doing this, why don't you go ahead and pause this video and see if you can figure out the answer to it yourself. 4x plus 4.4 plus 7. That's a big one. Wow. Okay. Welcome back. I hope that you got that answered, and I hope it's not a rounding one. 3.5, we're going to distribute. We have to multiply this number times both of these. So 3.5 times 3.2 equals 11.2. So we have 11.2x, because this is the x. Now we're going to do 3.5 times 5.6. 3.5 times 5.6 is 19.6, and it's positive, so we do plus 19.6. On the right-hand side, 2.1 times 4, I think I know this one, but I'll check, is 8.4x. 2.1 times 4.4, 2.1 times 4.4 is 9.24, and that is also positive. And then plus 7. I mean, it's pretty nasty with the decimals, but at least they did us a solid and didn't give us any negative numbers in this one. Okay? These two terms are not like and cannot be combined. Over here, there's only one x term, but these two numbers can be combined, and that's what we should do next. So we rewrite the whole thing, which is a lot. The 8.4x, x, it's the only x term, and we're going to add 9.24 with 7. Oh, well, I could have done that one in my head. Plus 16.24. Next step, get all of your variables on one side. Which one's smaller, 11.2x or 8.4x? 8.4 is smaller, so we're going to subtract 8.4x from both sides. Okay, and 11.2 minus 8.4 equals 2.8. Plus 19.6 equals, this is gone, 16.24. Now I want to get my variable term by itself, so I subtract 19.6 from both sides. So I have 2.8x on the left, and I've got 16.24 minus 19.6 gives me negative 3.36. Then, my last step, I divide both sides by 2.8. Divided by 2.8 equals, oh goody, this one doesn't need rounding. X is equal to negative 1.2. I don't know why that one turned out so weird. Negative 1.2. Okay. So that's the last question on the review for quiz. I want you to go over to McGraw-Hill and put in the answers. You should have them all if you watch the whole video, and then you'll get credit for that practice assignment. It's kind of your reward for watching the video. Of course, I do have a 10th question. The 10th question is my secret word question. Well, let me get rid of this stuff. This question is answered in the review for quiz video. In high school, I only ever got 1D. What subject was it? Okay. I hated gym when I was in school. I hated gym. Oh my gosh. It wasn't fun like you guys' gym. Our gym was every day change into these nasty clothes that they assigned you. You didn't get to wear what you wanted. You had to wear what they gave you. And they would make you run the track. And then they would make you take a shower. And then you would have to go to class. Well, girls know you put a lot of time and effort into your hair and makeup. And I did not like that. So yeah, gym was the only class I ever got a D in, and it was because I skipped it and I didn't dress for it. But yeah, so question number 10, the answer is gym. All right. Well, thanks for watching my video, guys. I know this was a long one, but it's really important that you review these concepts and do well on this last quiz. All right. So quiz tomorrow. Have a great one. See you then.